Designing Landing Pages to Support Cold Call Leads, a 2025 guide for B2B success. Your cold call isn't the finish line, it's the handoff. In 2025, a cold call rarely closes anything. It earns you a short window of attention that immediately moves online. The moment a prospect types your URL in after a conversation, your landing page becomes the second half of the pitch. If they land on a generic homepage that doesn't match what your SDR just said, that attention disappears fast. This matters because modern buyers self-educate before they ever commit to a meeting. Research consistently shows B2B buyers complete 57 to 70% of their journey before contacting sales, and 2 to 7 websites typically get reviewed before a purchase decision is made. Your cold call follow-up page is competing in that shortlist, whether you plan for it or not. At SalesHive, we treat the landing page as part of the Outbound system, not a marketing afterthought. When we run cold calling services alongside email and digital follow-up, our goal is simple: keep the story cohesive from dial to click to meeting, and make the next step obvious for a skeptical decision maker. Why cold call landing pages win or lose pipeline? Cold call traffic is expensive and fragile. You're paying for list building, phone validation, tooling, and the time of a cold calling team. Connect rates are low, so every real conversation is hard-won. When that prospect visits your site, you're not getting traffic, you're protecting the ROI of a conversation you already paid for. Benchmark-wise, most B2B landing pages still convert in the low single digits, with a median around 2.9%. Well-optimized pages tied to clear offers, like webinars, calculators, or gated assets, often reach 5 to 10%, and highly targeted B2B pages can report averages like 13.28% in certain studies. Proof that great is available when message, audience, and offer line up. The non-negotiable factor is experience, especially speed. If a page doesn't load quickly, you lose the visitor before your value prop even shows up. Studies report bounce rates around 60% when load time drifts beyond roughly 2 to 3 seconds, and conversion can drop about 7% for every extra second. That's brutal. To make this practical, use the table below as a quick gut check for what good looks like in a cold call follow-up flow. Define the job. What a cold call landing page must do. A common mistake we see at outbound sales agencies and in-house teams alike is calling a page optimized without defining what it's optimized for. A cold call landing page is not an SEO hub, not a brand manifesto, and not a product tour playground. Its job is to act like the continuation of the SDR's conversation. Same promise, same pain, same next step. In practice, that job breaks down into 3 outcomes that you can measure. First, the page must reestablish context in seconds so the prospect feels, yes, this is what we discussed. Second, it must reduce perceived risk with credibility signals that match the buyer's world, industry proof, outcomes, and clear expectations. Third, it must capture a concrete next step, ideally a booked meeting, because learn more is where paid attention goes to die. This is why we recommend call-specific pages for each major script and segment, especially if you're investing in sales outsourcing or building an outsourced sales team. The tighter the match between the cold caller's opener and the landing page hero, the fewer mental leaps the buyer has to make, and the more likely you are to turn that click into a calendar event. Implementation. Build a script-to-page system, not one perfect page. The fastest way to scale performance is to treat each cold call script like a mini campaign with its own destination. We build message maps that connect the SDR's hook, the pain points they name, the promise they make, and the CTA they ask for, and then we mirror that language on the page. When the prospect later compares you against the 2 to 7 websites they're reviewing, message continuity becomes a differentiator. From a design standpoint, prioritize a single primary action and remove competing exits. That usually means minimizing navigation, repeating the same CTA in the hero and after proof, and choosing one conversion path, calendar booking, or a short form that routes to booking. For cold call services and pay-per-appointment lead generation motions, the page should behave like a meeting factory, a clear promise, tight proof, and one obvious next step. Operationally, you need clean tracking and routing, or you'll never know what's working. We recommend UTM links tied to the SDR, script, and segment, then syncing landing page events into your CRM so you can connect dial to visit to meeting to pipeline. This is where a strong SDR agency or B2B sales agency earns its keep, not just making calls, but building an outbound system that produces attributable, repeatable outcomes. If your landing page doesn't sound like your SDR, you're not following up. You're restarting from zero. Best practices that consistently lift cold call conversion. Start with copy that's simpler than your internal decks. Data from landing page studies shows plain language pages can materially outperform professional corporate writing because the buyer is scanning for clarity, not vocabulary. After a short call, your visitor wants a direct explanation of what you do, who it's for, and what happens next, without buzzwords and without a wall of text. Next, make proof look like the prospect. Generic testimonials are a common mistake. Role and industry-matched proof reduces friction faster because it answers, "Will this work for a company like ours?" This is especially important when your prospects have already completed 57 to 70% of their research before they'll engage sales again, since your page has to carry the credibility burden your rep doesn't have time to unpack on a cold call. Finally, use video as a speed-to-trust lever when your offer is complex. Multiple benchmarks report conversion uplifts of 20 to 86% when relevant video is added to a landing page, which is why we often pair a short "what this is and who it's for" video with a single CTA. The key is relevance, a tight 60 to 120 second explainer that matches the exact promise the SDR just made. Common mistakes and how to fix them without rebuilding everything. The biggest mistake is message mismatch. The SDR says one thing and the page says another. Fix it by rewriting the hero to mirror the call opener, aligning the first proof block to the same pain point, and using the same CTA language your rep used on the phone. You don't need a redesign to solve this. You need a tighter narrative. The second mistake is high friction at the moment of intent. Long forms, unclear what happens next, and multiple competing buttons cause drop-off even when the prospect is interested. For most cold call follow-up pages, keep first touch forms short and route quickly to a calendar. Your SDR can gather details on the call, and enrichment tools can fill the gaps. The third mistake is ignoring speed and mobile experience. If you're losing prospects to slow load times, you're effectively donating opportunities to faster competitors, especially painful when your landing page is fed by a B2B cold calling services engine. Aim to keep load times under the 2 to 3 second danger zone because bounce can spike towards 60% as pages get sluggish, and each additional second can cost roughly 7% in conversions. Optimization. Turn cold call follow-up into a measurable growth loop. Once the page is doing the basics, optimization becomes straightforward. Test one variable at a time and tie results to downstream meetings and pipeline, not just form fills. The goal isn't vanity conversion rate, it's qualified meetings that hold and progress, which is why we like to track page variance against show rate and opportunity creation. Segmentation is where most teams leave money on the table. If you sell to multiple ICPs, a single one-size-fits-all page forces generic proof and diluted messaging. Separate pages by industry, role, or use case usually outperform because the buyer recognizes themselves immediately. This matters even more in competitive categories where a prospect is reviewing 2 to 7 websites and using your page to quickly decide whether you're credible. Use a simple experimentation roadmap so you don't thrash between ideas. A practical cadence is to start with headline, hero message match, then proof positioning, then CTA phrasing, then video, and finally, form versus direct calendar. The table below shows a clean way to structure these tests and keep the learning loop tight. What to do next? Build a portfolio of pages that support Outbound in 2025. If you're serious about Outbound, the next step is to stop thinking in terms of one landing page and start building a portfolio. One page per core script, ICP, and offer. That approach makes it easy to keep radical message match across your cold calling agency motion, your cold email agency follow-up, and any LinkedIn outreach services you use, while also producing clean attribution. At SalesHive, we've seen this system create compounding gains because the improvements stack. Faster pages protect hard-won clicks, tighter proof increases trust, and clearer CTAs raise bookings. Since 2016, we've booked 100,000 plus meetings for 1,500 plus B2B clients by combining high-velocity calling, coordinated outreach, and tightly aligned digital experiences that don't break the story after the call. Whether you're looking to hire SDRs in-house or partner with an outbound sales agency, the playbook is the same. Align scripts to pages, reduce friction, track every handoff, and optimize based on meetings and pipeline, not vibes. Do that well, and you'll consistently beat the 2.9% median and turn outbound spend into predictable, attributable growth.